everybody can hear me. Yeah. Okay, so what I've been asked to talk about today is I feel it's actually a very, very important part of anything that you do, actually, life. But when you're homeschooling, and it's even more crucial to actually know how to manage time, because you're doing so many things at one time. So we'll just move on. My name is Sameera, and I am an ex-banker. I was working for corporate banking before I quit my job, and I decided to homeschool my children. My older two here, who graduated high school last year, were actually at that time were in grade 3 and 4, and I wasn't happy with the schooling, and we wanted to just change and look into something else. So initially it began as something, we changed school, because that's the only option that comes to your mind, is just to change the school. And we did that. But it turned out to be that what I was not happy was not the different school, but it was the schooling was the problem. And so we took this giant leap into homeschooling. Unlike most of you who were, I feel actually that most of you had no choice and you were like thrown into crisis schooling. But I had a choice at the time, and I researched and I looked into it, and we decided, with weighing all the pros and cons, and we jumped in. And so we did think about it, and we thought that, okay, if it doesn't work, like most of you might be thinking right now, that if it doesn't work, what do we do? We said, okay, if it doesn't work, they will go back to school next year, but they will probably lose a year. But you know what? We never ever looked back, and we just stuck to it, and it is the best thing that has happened to us as a family, which I did not realize when we were starting in the beginning. So as you can see, I have 4 kids, and my 2 oldest one are here, and the younger 2 are, these 2 boys keep me really busy. They're full of energy. One is in grade 6 this year, and the other one is grade 8. And I am from Pakistan, and we have lived in Abu Dhabi for more than 14 years, and Dubai, in UAE actually forever. I was a little kid when we came to UAE. So it is my home, second home, but I call it my first home because I grew up here. I am also founder of this whole YouTube channel, which is called Prai by Sams. This is in Urdu. This is the language that Pakistanis and Indians understand. And I decided to do that channel to help mothers during this lockdown period. Actually, this was an initiative that came up just during the lockdown period, and just to help the community and about homeschooling and online learning and so on.
Sorry, Sameera, someone said on the chat that we've lost you.
Really?
Yeah. Although I am still seeing you. Wait. Oh, so he's back. Okay. Nice. Yeah. I think
okay.
There was a sorry.
All right.
Go on.
Okay. So anyway, so moving on, just wanted to share some of the learning principles that we follow in our house. So I have all the activities that we do during the day, either at home or the activities outside, or if it is related to our faith. Everything is comprised of, we're making sure that we're following the values, and we have a discipline and the social responsibility that we have living in this country, interacting with different faith, people of different cultures, ethnicities, and so this is it's an amazing place to be raising your kids, because you can teach them how to be tolerant of each other, how you can make friends from people from so many places. And we were lucky to have to be part of this amazing homeschooling community here in Abu Dhabi, and we have friends from all over the world. So my kids love playing with and interacting with anybody and everybody, and the subject about socializing, which is like most talked about, and it's actually the biggest myth, and maybe that's a topic for some other time. Anyway, moving on. As I wanted to talk to you about how we have done school over these 11 plus years. So since we are Muslims, and I've always tried to put the schedule around the 5 daily prayers that we have to do anyway. So when it is something that we have to do, I've decided to, I've managed to make a schedule around it that keeps me on track. So it's it's in the morning time is the most active time of school. So we do our school in the morning. There's no compromise on that. The kids get up early in the morning. And so when the kids were younger, they took the time to sleep for more time. But again, it depends on, what ages your kids are in. If they're really, tiny, up to maybe grade four, you can give them a flexibility, which I did too. But if they're older, like in, senior high school or high school, of course, if they don't start their day early, they will never be able to finish what all they have to do. So our active school begins in the morning, and then we move on to more of passive learning towards lunchtime, and we have another prayer. And then we, not for the last a couple of months that we are not able to go out, but all our extracurricular activities were after we would have finished, lunch, and it would be like after 3 o'clock, the prayer, the evening prayer that we have around 4ish. So, after we've did that, and then we can go and do our sports activities or any other activities that the kids enjoy doing. And then moving on to, your, dinner time, your family time. And then they just, all of them have their own interests to do, which they don't want to be bothered with, like reading, or if they want to watch something, and we unwind, and that's it. So do you see, it's not really difficult it was not really difficult to follow, because I felt that I've had some, a measurement tool for me, so that I know that I'm on track. So the 5 daily prayers actually kept me on track. So you need to find what can keep you on track and works for you guys. Today, I wanted to, based on my experience with what I have done and how we have achieved during our whole of 11 plus years, managing 4 kids, and continuing what all they wanted to do, doing their activities and their passions, what they wanted to follow, plus doing the school. So I think that managing time without setting priorities is like shooting randomly and calling whatever you hit target. So time management is really, really critical in following your day or following your routine, and doing whatever you're doing. I mean, when I was working, it was my first job. I was very young at the time, and they put like how they have corporate in big corporates, they have these training seminars for the employees, and I was sent for this time management course. And while I was doing all that, and I said, why are they even teaching this to like grown-ups? Most of the people who were there were like, 25 plus at least. So this is it's a very critical skill that if you don't learn it, you will see that every phase of your life you will have some problem or the other. Or if you do it, you will also enjoy the perks of knowing how to manage time. Okay, so the first thing I think, which is very important, just like how I showed you how we do it, is have a daily routine. So if you have younger kids, you have older kids, you have a mix, or you're working part-time, or whatever you do, you have to have a daily routine. You will never change your life until you change something you do daily. So if you don't have a daily routine, you might end up, in chaos later on. People tend to think that, okay, we'll just do things and it will just be all right in a few days, in a few months. No, it doesn't happen. Whatever routine that you would like to have, you must have, and you have to follow it. And the second most important thing in achieving a daily routine, that, as I discussed with you, is getting rid of the distractions. That is, I think, a challenge for us in the last 10 years. How the technology has bombarded with gadgets and online and so on. So as a homeschooler, I always knew that this will be a problem, because if I want my kids to sit down and do school while I am the active part of the school, and if they have distractions around, they will never be able to concentrate on what we are doing, or even feel important why we are doing what we are doing. So if you're just, in your house, if the distraction is TV, then you need to switch it off. If you have gadgets lying around, mobile phones, whatever it is, that needs to go, at least for the time that you are doing your active work. Again, as a mom and as a homeschooling mom, meal, having planning your meal is very, very critical, again, to have a smooth day. And that starts with timely grocery, as all of you might agree with me, that timely grocery is equal to good meal planning. So where will you have meal planning if you don't have enough grocery? So with these, lockdown has given us an opportunity to do more online shopping. I mean, I've been doing online shopping for the last 5 months. So that makes it easier. You can just do your grocery shopping, whatever you have to do, and make sure you have everything available to then plan what you're going to be cooking. Now, that we're eating at least 3 times a day, and if you have younger kids, they'll be probably eating 5 times a day. So to ensure that they're eating wholesome, organic, and healthy food, a good meal planning is very important. Because I've seen in my these years that I've interacted with so many friends, and I've noticed that families who did not pay attention to what they were eating actually ended up having health issues. They ended up having obesity issues and so on, and this can impact, not maybe right now, the kids are young and you might think, oh, it's okay to do this, whatever I'm doing, but it can create a problem. I myself had kids. I've actually figured out that my kids had few dietary concerns, and which I did not realize earlier. But when I started homeschooling, that became a subject, and the focus was going, and so many other issues, only because they were not eating what they were supposed to eat, and they were eating all wrong kind of food. So that's, again, a very important point to note. Then moving on to setting reasonable goals for yourself. It's important to set goals, because if you don't set goals, you're not really following anything, and we all need something to see in front of us and see what we can achieve. So, and I don't want you to, again, set like massive goals, which you get tired halfway and you're like, oh, I'm never going to be doing. How we sometimes want to lose weight and we say, okay, I'm going to lose 20 kgs in a month, and that's too much to achieve. So instead you break it down and give yourself like those, don't give yourself the unreasonable goals, but reasonable ones, and gradually raise it. Like, you could tell yourself, fine, we'll do an activity once a week, because these activities, when I say activities, maybe like painting, or it can get messy, and if you do it more time, you'll tire yourself and you'll probably just leave it. So having it like once in a week or once in 2 weeks, or maybe any other extracurricular that you feel that it is important for them to do, but then you should know that it should be something that they're doing it at a time which is reasonable, and you're not doing, you're not overdoing it. So learn to say no also at the same time, but set reasonable goals for yourself, for your family, and for your children, on the whole. And do not compare yourself with any other family, because we are all very, very unique. The problem happens when we start comparing our family, our kids, to other children, and then we get frustrated. So I think that's a wrong way to compare, but you have to compare yourself, what you did 6 months ago and what you are doing now. I'm sure every time you will do that, you will be able to reward yourself. Then, well, okay, now 6 months ago I wasn't even teaching my kids, and now I'm doing all this myself. So then you have to reward yourself. um, then moving on, I think this is the most critical one. I know I'm saying it for every topic that I'm talking about, but this one is very, very important, to delegate tasks. And as I say sometimes, that don't underestimate the power of delegation, because we tend to think that oh, he will not be able to do this, so let me just do this, and let me just do this, and we overwhelm ourselves by doing everything ourselves, and in the end we just collapse, and obviously the quality is going to not be the same if we were doing the things that we're supposed to be doing. I'll give you an example. I When my kids, the younger two, were very young, and I was teaching the older two, and of course even the younger two, but then it would be so tiring at one point of time during the day. It would be so tiring that I wanted to just take a nap, just a 10-minute nap. But it somehow did not work out, and I was like, if I can somehow get this 10-minute nap, it would be energizing for me, and then the rest of the day can go without the irritability that I'm having. But I did not know how to do that. And suddenly a friend of mine actually said, why don't you make your older kids look after the younger two? And I'm like, why didn't I think of that before? Of course, my older two, I mean, even though they were young, they were like 10 or 12 years old, but they were very capable of handling the younger two. And this is just for 10 minutes anyways. So I said, no, let me do that. And when I did, it worked. And I was like, that's it. It just needed that. And in fact, they enjoyed their bonding time. They decided they will do, play board games, or they will watch something that they like to do, or just read a book, whatever. But the delegation helped me actually a lot. And similarly, now when I say delegating tasks, you can delegate to your husband, what maybe he can bring the grocery, or someone can help you with dishwashing or laundry or cleaning. Do not burden yourself totally. If you need help, maybe you can get you can hire a help, but try to do things which as a mother you can only do it, and things that you can get done from another person, because they don't need to be the mother, right? Like, for example, if you get tired, cleaning the house, so you can have somebody come and clean once a week or twice a week, whatever it is. But you having the kids having their mother around, happy mother around, that is more important for the kids. So, and also we take turns in making, doing weekend cooking in our house. So my husband actually does the breakfast on weekends, so that helped. I mean, you can get your sleep, your break in the morning, while someone can do the cooking in the morning. So again, delegation is very important. Even if your kids are young, just make them do, clean the house, clean the room, or their desk, or their cupboard, or whatever. So whatever, it doesn't matter the size of the task that you're delegating. It's just letting everybody involved in what we're doing as family. Okay, so moving on, now I also think that setting deadlines is very important. Don't be open-ended for things like, if you have a project or you have something that you want to do with children, it's like, yeah, we'll do it. And then we'll do it will never happen because you did not put a deadline. And I also feel that, the goals are actually dreams, only with deadlines. So if you don't have deadlines, you can never achieve your dreams. So give yourself, give yourself a, deadline, and that deadline should be 2 days before the actual deadline. For example, your kids have to submit the assignment, and they have to submit it on a Monday, and so you make sure that all their work is completed and done, and you've checked it by Friday. Giving yourself that cushion actually helps. My kids have learned this hard way, especially my teens, because you know how it is in high school. Everything has a deadline, and teenagers tend to procrastinate, but they learn it hard way, because whenever they procrastinated and when they reached just the last hour of the deadline and they had like 4 subjects to finish, that taught them having to set a deadline for themselves before the actual deadline. So that gave them, plan it properly, and submit submit the assignments which had more quality, and in order for them to get good grades. So so moving on to our last point on our time management principles is being organized. Just simply being organized. It's no matter it's the kitchen or your home or your cupboard or your school. It's organizing. It's organizing isn't about perfection. It's not. I'm not talking about everybody to become just that to be perfect, then we need to be super organized. No, organizing is not about perfection. It's about efficiency. Reducing stress and clutter, and saving time and money, and improving overall quality of life. Now, I'll give you an example for reducing stress with being organized. For example, like sometimes we used to have a lot of field trips as homeschoolers, and so we have to all meet at a common place, and then we would caravan sometimes. And so usually it was if you're going to Dubai, so we're meeting up at some place at 6:30 in the morning or 7 in the morning, and then we are pulling in and going together as homeschooling families. Now a lot of times what happened is families used to join at this point that we were going to meet, and they'll be late. So they are either 15 minutes late or 30 minutes late or 20 minutes late or whatever. And obviously it gives, it's stressful for a person who is already late, and keeping everybody waiting, and you have that stress, it's more stressful. So I don't think so. If I go back and if I remember, I don't think so ever it happened that anybody waited on us, because in order for us to leave home on time, even though it is extremely demanding to leave with 4 kids early in the morning and to head out for a day out. So you have to pack lunch and you have to do all those things. The planning starts the day before. And of course, going to bed on time and packing up everything and keeping everything ready, and your alarms, and but all that is an example of being organized. So you reduce stress and clutter that you can end up having if just being organized in your daily life, and saving time and of course money. Maybe you're late for the meeting and you're rushing and you end up having a ticket. So there you go. You will save money if you're just organized. And I feel that as parents, we are a role model for our kids. So if we are following and if we are respecting the time and being organized and setting a positive and a good standard, they will just follow. They will just, it's not easy. I still have a hard time explaining to my kids why it is important to finish something sooner than later, but we're working on it, and it's something in progress that we have to keep on doing till they're perfect. the skill of being organized. But again, they're watching us all the time, so we need to make sure that we are on track. So this is just my little 2 cents about time management that you guys all can do, and I'm sure it will help you. I will just share a small video that we have, just, I think probably this is just 25% of what all we have done in
Sameera,
the last.
Can I interrupt for a quick question? Because
Sure, Mia. Yes.
Someone was asking about the lesson planning, because she has an appointment and she's gonna leave it soon. So she wants to ask, like, how do you plan your lesson for your homeschool children? Do you do it weekly, daily, or monthly?
All right, so of course, this is another topic for discussion. For me, it depends on, again, what your child is following. Now, if you're doing an eclectic program, and if you're an unschooler, or if you're doing online schooling, it depends, it varies. For online school, of course, this is always, it is laid out for you. So if you're someone who actually struggles with something like that, then probably, it's better to go for curriculums that where it has already been done for you and you just need to execute it. I say this, I actually talk about this, that, we always are so focused about the curriculum and, what our child want and everything, but we often forget what works for us. And as a homeschooling mom for all these years, I have always made sure that something that works for him and me at the same time, because if it doesn't work with what I can manage, then I will end up crashing midway. So for me, this year, because we are doing eclectic this year, we have a mix. We have like math and English is something that is already laid out. We just follow. So yeah, it is about, like, what I prefer is like a monthly planning. But in a larger perspective, you should have what you're going to achieve in the whole year. It's important, because if you're too relaxed in the beginning, you might see yourself like rushing through stuff, in April or May. So you need to have something that like you have a broader picture of that. It's for the year. This is what we're going to be doing for the year, and then break it down into those monthly planning. And then if the kids are really young and you want to really, focus on each and every activity that they're doing, you can make it into a weekly planner, whatever suits you. For me, as I said, I have made a monthly one, and I know what I'm going to be doing during the individual weeks. But I look at mostly on a month that we will be covering 4 topics this month in science and in geography. And then as I told you earlier about goals, so you keep your your goals in a smaller chunks, so that you're making up the full year plan perfectly. I hope I've answered your question. So anyway, so we can move on. And as I was saying, that I'd like to share a little video of my children, what they have done in the last 10 years. I hope you enjoy this one. Thank you, everybody, for start again. Thank you, everyone, for being patiently listening to my talk and watching this. This is just a little, sneak peek into what we did, what we've done in the over 10 years. Again, as you see that we've, as a homeschooling mom, I've always made sure that my kids follow what they like to do, and I have just been with them and making as a facilitator, making sure that they're getting what all they need, what they like to do. Like my oldest son, he loved history, and we've traveled to many countries with the competitions that he won from here in UAE, and we qualified to European championships and Asian championships, and we've been to many countries doing that. So I just follow their passion, and I make sure that they get what they want to do. This actually has increased their self-esteem and the confidence in what they were doing academically also. So sometimes you're very focused on the academics only. I think it's always nice, and that we have them enjoy what they like to do. If it is something like math or science, fine. But if they like to play music, or if they have certain interest in art or whatever, we just let them do what, and they will excel. You just see them how they thrive if we let them do that. So that that focusing on their strengths, and just slightly bringing them up on whatever weaknesses they have in learning or just confidence. So that's all what I have to say. I think we can take some more questions now, Mia.
If you have any questions, guys, please type them in the chat. And meanwhile, I have a question for Sameera, because
Yes.
like I have a kitchen table wherein my two kids, age 11 and 7, do the online learning at the same time. How do you manage having more than one child doing online learning?
Okay. Yeah, that's a challenge which a lot of parents actually faced when they suddenly moved into online learning. I mean, we were doing online learning even before. We in the last all these years, we've done deschooling, unschooling, eclectic schooling, and online schooling. So with online schooling, one thing you need to make sure that noise has to be the noise breaker should be there. So fortunately, because I live in a villa, I always put my older two kids on the top floor and the younger two, so that if they're noisy, and that noise stays there. But you have to set them up in different places, especially if they have a class. And even if they're doing independently, if they're doing learning something through online, they need to be on their own separate desk. And preferably if they have, those noise breaker kind of headsets, where if they're in a class and if they're going to be talking or listening outside, the background noise should not bother them. So I know it's challenging for some people. The space is limited, but I think of it practically. That's actually one of the one of the first topic that I did a video on my channel, was how to manage the study spaces. And it's sometimes we tend to forget there are some spaces, there are hidden spaces in the house that we don't, because our house is all set up for I think mostly for other people than ourselves sometimes. But during lockdown, we are not having any guests, and we're not inviting people, and we're not even going out. So why don't we look at those spots in the house that we have, like especially a living room or some corner, and create a more wholesome kind of living environment in the house, and ignore what others might think. They'll come up and they'll say, oh, you have a table here. It doesn't matter if you have a table there, as long as your children are enjoying what they're doing at that corner. I mean, but you need to split them, both of them, separately. Now, if you are in the kitchen and you are, and they are doing a live class, like what I used to do is, if I wanted to make sure that I am with my son while he's doing the live class, I would, tell him to bring his laptop downstairs in the kitchen, and while I'm cooking, I'm keeping an eye on him. But if this is something that they can do on their own, and that can be your free time. You can make that call that you want to. You make a call. You can probably take a quick shower. You can, because when they are having an online class, that's it's a break for you to do it if you can. I mean, again, if they're younger kids, then they might need your assistance to be there. I hope I've answered your question, Mia.
Yeah, thank you. There's a question like, how do you motivate your children to follow through the task that you've delegated to them?
Oh, that's a hard one. And, but I think just, repeating the same thing over and over again. It's very common. We all have, the kids are all always, same. They will not just obey when you say, okay, do the dishes and the dishes will be done. You'll have to keep reminding them. And they will get there. I mean, my 12-year-old, actually, he has to do dishes on Fridays. And today when I just told him, I said, did you do the dishes? And he, oops. And, he went and he did the dishes. Actually, while doing that, a job that I gave him, which I wasn't giving him before, I found out that he loves doing dishes. And because I caught him red-handed when he was doing the dishes, he was humming and he was like, he was really enjoying it. And I said, so this is something I miss, thinking, oh, he's a boy and, maybe he will break the, he wouldn't be able to clean the dishes properly, but he actually enjoys it. So you never know. You might be delegating something and your kids might fall in love with.
I have a question for kids who are doing online schooling, and how do you avoid the online chatting and the other distractions which are so common in the internet?
Yes, actually, that's another topic that I did in my, in my chats. There has to be, your the security should be set in. Like, there are so many softwares which are parental control softwares. We did it the first year that we got into online schooling, and we said, because we can't have the freedom. You can't give them that freedom to be on an internet and access anything and do school. It's just really checking out, their limits. It's too tempting. It's tempting for us if we have to do something and we have something, another screen open for something that we like. We tend to, deviate completely. So you need to look into a good parental control software. The one which I use is called Q Studio. You can have multiple PCs, computers. It can work on different machines, like maybe you have laptops and you have iPads or phones. So you can set it up. It's a paid one, but it's so worth having something like this, because not only that your child is restricted to not go to all the website, but you can give him the access to things that he can watch. Like, there could be learning resources that he like to watch. You can give him the access. But let's say he's trying to search something, and out of curiosity, they're trying to search something. So you can set up limits into what they can and what they cannot do. Language, whatever is you want to set up as a parameter, and then the parental control software actually does not allow them to go to any website which has those things. It could be in the video form, or it could be in a text form. Like, if there is something, a word which is used in Wikipedia and he's searching something, that whole file will not open. But maybe another one can open, because that single word that you have restricted, that it shouldn't be reading. So it's really amazing. You guys can research more. But yes, I think having an online school and kids learning an online school and not having this is the most dangerous thing that can be there, because you might not realize it now, but if the kids are not spending time what they're supposed to be doing, they will never be able to finish what they're supposed to finish, and then it'll be too late. And then again, it's this is not what we want. We want our kids to learn whatever medium that they choose to, if it's online or offline or a combination, but we want them to learn. So I think the best, the most important thing you guys have to do is to immediately look into a good parental control software. The one which I use is great, but there are, I know that there are some free ones also. Whatever works for you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Well, I think the parents are thinking hard now because I think you've given a lot of information, and
yeah. So I hope the tips that I have given actually, is something that people can, relate to and see that they can try implementing, because that's very important to have, to manage. Now that as homeschooling mom, when you're managing uh, cooking and managing different ages of kids, and now we don't have guests, and but for us, we've always hosted family members. My mother-in-law used to come in for sometime 2 to 3 months, and we've had relatives who would come in, and you can imagine what kind of distraction that would create in a homeschooling environment. But if you have your management strategies in place, and if you have everything else taken care of, you can actually do all those things. Some people used to fall off their chair thinking, saying that, what are you going to do? Your mother-in-law is here for a month. And I'm like, nothing. I mean, there isn't anything different. We will just carry on with our day. But I would make sure that the kids spend more time with their grandmother, and we would do activities outside with her. And so that is part, and that's the whole package of actually homeschooling. Homeschooling doesn't mean you become completely alienated and aloof from the society and community and relatives just because now you don't have time because you're teaching your kids. Everything is within teaching your kids. The kids learn from every single person around you. So being active in the homeschooling community, you learn so much from different families. But if you're always running short of time, and you're always, you haven't finished school, and the kids are, the whole house is a mess, you will not even end up having social, you will not end up giving them the social gatherings that they should be getting, the social connection that they should be getting. So it's, anyway, we're not doing that right now, so you have you should be less pressurized. But as a homeschooler, on a constant basis, I would say that we were most of the time outside the house than inside the house, because the normal traditional school takes 8 hours, minimum 8 hours school time. We would finish school in 3 to 4 hours. Only when my kids were in high school, they would take 3-4 hours in the morning, and then they would give themselves a break and then do some work in the evening, maybe another 2 hours. So 6 hours was the max that we have spent, even up to grade 12, to be inside the house doing school. Most of the activities and everything that you saw, the pictures that I shared, were activities and competitions and those kind of things that was outside the house, doing with different, their favorite people, and my favorite people, because I miss seeing my friends too. So anyway, that is very, very important. I say that to manage how you manage your time, to enable you to do all this, to have the experience to interact with other people.
So there's a question from Miriam. So is this plain homeschooling, I mean, with parents only, or online studies with teachers on Zoom, for example?
Sorry, I didn't. Can you repeat the question, the first part?
Miriam, if you want to clarify, you can unmute yourself and ask us a question. Yeah, I think it's better if you unmute and ask us directly, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
This is Miriam. I'm sorry, I'm a bit late. That's why I was not able to hear everything from the very start. I just would like to know if this is like homeschooling. I mean, plain homeschooling, like, the mother or the father is in charge of teaching their kids at home, or will there be teachers teaching them on Zoom, for example?
Now, I think your question is more related to school. So you can, what I'm talking about, what we have done is we've done deschooling, okay, which means nothing to do with how the school teaches the kids, just completely learning to adapt to what your child likes, okay, and then eclectic learning where you create their own curriculum and design their curriculum and choose what you like. All right, this is it doesn't come in the parameters of 180 days or whatever, the government has set up, whatever. So you're beyond all those boundaries and you create something what you want. Okay, and then there's online learning, which is a school, and they have a curriculum that is laid out completely for homeschoolers. So you just, you have a daily plan which you just follow, and the child, it's easier. You can just pace up, and it goes with your child's pace. So if he wants to do 2 lessons today in math, fine. If he wants to do no lesson in English today, it's fine, and he can just move on with the day. And then there's e-learning. What the brick and mortar schools have done in the last 6 months is they have created an e-learning platform so that their child can learn through Zoom. And there's the teacher who's actually a teacher in the school. She is making the lessons and teaching the lessons through Zoom. In my opinion, that this mode has actually created a bit more, it's more stressful for parents because they have to monitor everything and they have to be around, and it has to be done at a certain time. Whereas the online school, if you compare it on the online level, the online school is more like it's at the pace of the child. So if you don't want to do school in the morning, you can switch it, you can do it in the evening. You just need to complete the daily task that is given, and you make sure you finish that. So it depends on which method that you would like to choose for your child to do homeschooling. I hope, Miriam, that was your question.
Yeah, what do you call, sorry, yeah, what do you call the learning that you have been sharing with us from the start? How do you call it? Eclectic learning?
Yeah, eclectic.
Ah,
Eclectic is where you're choosing whatever you would like to choose for your child or they would like to learn. So
yeah,
you're building up a curriculum. You're building
yeah,
up a curriculum bit by bit. You're not
yeah.
getting a whole set of curriculum done for you and you just have to follow. You're building it up. Like my kids are doing math through teachingtextbooks.com,
Yeah.
and they're doing science from another place, and they're doing history from YouTube. We'll do history from YouTube. So things like these. So you could make it from a variety of places, variety of so resources. You can create a curriculum, or you could have no curriculum at all. It's just we'll just read all the books on a certain topic this year. That's it. You just it depends on, again, what ages your child. We're talking about elementary or middle school, or high school is more structured. High school when I say high school, I'm assuming that we are talking about the US curriculum, US high school, even British system. You need to have a structure by the time that you're in grade 9, and you need to know what you'll be doing in the coming 2-3 years. So it gets, then you are really following a structure, and you're following a curriculum that you're supposed to achieve, again, to achieve the high school diploma that eventually that you want your child to to do. So basically more flexibility is available in the elementary years, and when your child is in the middle school up to like grade 8.
Yeah. Wow, that's very interesting. This is very new to me. And
Okay.
I think it's like, I'm so sorry, Mia, is it still okay to ask?
Yes, please. We have
Yeah.
up to
Okay.
5.
Okay. So, Sameera, okay, will they become certified after studying for such, or for what?
Okay, so
Um,
again, Miriam, the accreditation, certifying, or all
yeah.
these are things that it depends, it varies from where you're from, what is more important. You're from Philippines, and what are the rules and regulations in your country if you have to go back? Do you need to show them a certain transcript, or are you looking at sending your kid abroad to US, where homeschooling is recognized broadly, and so those kind of things you need to ask yourself. And then there are various options. So the one which I'm doing this year is through an umbrella school in US. So I do get accreditation from that particular school, which is in US, and the accreditation is within US. But if I want to send my kid to school, which I'm not looking at, but let's say if I want to send my kid to school here, they will not recognize that accreditation. You see what I'm saying? So for that to happen, maybe within the situation that we are in, maybe things will get relaxed. I'm not sure, but all these questions about certification or accreditation, you need to see what your family requires, what ages your children are in, and what you see them, what you want to see them to be going into. Like, if you want to send them abroad to US or UK, or you have to go back to your country. So what are the requirements there? So you just have to fast forward yourself into that time, and then plan accordingly what you have to do now. But nothing is impossible.
Sorry?
I said nothing is impossible. You can. Yes, there are many ways, and there are many methods, and people have done it. You're not the first one, right? So we have a lot of families who are homeschooling and their kids. For me, I had a lot of anxiety at the time when my kids were young, the older two, and I would worry about this. But alhamdulillah, when they completed their high school, they seamlessly got into university in US, and we never had to worry about the accreditation at all. Even though I did have the online school that we used had an accreditation from KHDA in Dubai, so we did cover that risk at the time. But even then, that was not something that came. Really, it was not really important at that time. I did worry about it before.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. And really, I find it interesting. It's really very new to me. I am also from the, academe. So that is why I ask these questions. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Miriam. All the best.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And all the best too.
Yeah, thank you, because this is a time management webinar.
Yes.
We're going to be on time. So we'll close in 1 minute. And if there are no further questions, I'm going to close it now. And just to follow, if you want to have more questions for Sameera, you can follow her on Facebook in her Facebook page, Parhai by Sam.
Yes.
Right? And I'm going to write it in the chat. And how about any email? I think the Facebook page is, because...
Yeah, you could send me on my the messenger. That's the easiest, actually, for everybody. And even though Parhai by Sam's initiative is that I started, I usually do videos like once a week, and that is in Urdu. But my channel is pretty much open for everybody. So if there's any concern, any questions that you would like, I can. I have been actually handling a lot of Q&A all the time with for the last 6 months. People just randomly either send me a message or call me or reach me on Facebook. So no problem at all. You can reach me anytime. I'll try my best.
Thank you. And I think Sameera I attest to this, because Sameera has been very responsive with a lot of my questions as I'm starting with the homeschooling this year. And so just one last request for everyone before I close. If you can answer the feedback form, it's gonna take you less than 1 minute. I put it in the chat as well, so that how you think about our webinar, so we can do more of knowledge sharing sessions in the future. So 5 o'clock, we're on time, and I think we've achieved our goal. So thank you, everyone. And hopefully you'll join us next week. We'll be discussing about meal planning management by a dietitian from Abu Dhabi as well, which is a point that you also mentioned, which is also very important.
Yes, that's extremely important. Good. Thank you so much, Mia, for giving me the opportunity. It was lovely to go over some down the memory lane for me. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.